Hello everybody, I'm Patrick Coutu. Today I want to talk to you about property taxes and how they're calculated and why in Sarnia our property taxes are pretty high and basically uncompetitive. So to start with, everybody might be familiar with MPAC. So MPAC is a provincial organization, and what they do is they assess the value of each and every property. So every property, whether it's commercial, industrial, or residential, MPAC will assess the value. What the municipality does is then it takes the total assessed value of all of the property for Sarnia is actually close to $8 billion. It's $7.9 billion. And then that's what they use to get their $180 million operating budget. But how this all breaks down is they got to, in a fair way, collect it from each citizen. So each property category has its own mill rate. There's a lot more categories than I've shown here, but I just picked three of the basic ones. There's residential, there's commercial, and there's industrial. And then what I did was I've got Sarnia here, and then the surrounding properties. Our mill rate in Sarnia is 1.67 as compared to 1.303, 1.371, and 1.319. As you can see, everybody else is kind of in this one range. We're an outlier. And what that boils down to is Sarnia's just not as efficient as these other communities in running their town. So they have to distribute more burden per person. What the community needs to do is it needs to grow. It has to be proactive in ways to grow. But I just want people to realize the ramifications of what's happening with these mill rates, and just to show you how uncompetitive Sarnia is, and not only uncompetitive, but how burdensome this becomes on its own citizens. So what is a citizen going to pay in Sarnia for the property taxes if they've got a $500,000 assessed value? Well, they're going to pay in the neighborhood of, per year, $8,350. That's the annual that they're going to pay in Sarnia. Well, if you owned that exact same house that was valued at $500,000 and you owned it in St. Clair Township, where the mill rate is different, per year, you would be paying $6,515. So you can see a significant difference there. Believe me, that when people are choosing where to live, this makes a big difference as to where they choose. Mill rates, not only is it burdensome on the people that live in Sarnia, but it also makes you uncompetitive to bring new business to Sarnia. Look at these mill rates for industrial. And the reason I took Strathroy is because, maybe somebody's going to say, well, Sarnia's a bigger population than St. Clair and Plimpton, Wyoming, and maybe through the economies of scale, maybe that's why they're worse. Well, that's not the case. These guys are just a little bit better at running their towns. As you can see, Strathroy doesn't need to charge that much, and they're a similar type community that Sarnia would be. So our mill rate is 3.987 for industrial properties, and it is 2.916. So way more competitive in Strathroy. And the results will show that. If you look at Strathroy's industrial sector, it is booming. They're attracting all kinds of business. In Strathroy, the businesses have more extra resources to deploy to things like, research and development, new employees, just being more efficient. So that's kind of in a nutshell, how the tax system works, which this is something that we need to address. We seem to be uncompetitive. Look at the commercial. Big differences there between Strathroy, between Plimpton, Wyoming, between St. Clair Township and Sarnia. Sarnia is uncompetitive at every juncture there. Something's got to be done about that, and the best solution is to grow the tax base. What you got to do is make this number bigger, because by doing that, then you don't burden each individual citizen more. By making this number bigger, we can get these numbers to come down. And in order for us to do that, we've just got to have a good, aggressive leadership that wants to bring more business in. So the idea is that we've got to make Sarnia, Lambton competitive and attractive. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll look forward to seeing you in another informational video.